Welcome back to Outnumbered. When lawmakers return to Capitol Hill tomorrow, one item topping their agenda is the Iran nuclear deal and a formal debate of a Republican resolution disapproving it. The deal is all but certain to stand, given the current support for it from Democratic senators. In the meantime, two GOP presidential rivals are joining forces to oppose the accord. Frontrunner Donald Trump and Texas Senator Ted Cruz teaming up in an anti-Iran deal rally planned for just 2 days from now. All right. Ainsley was talking about a deal that was made potentially something bigger than this rally.
Think? Do you think they might be running mates?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think they both want the top job, and I think they want it really badly. But this is smart, Pete, to team up on an issue that is already, the Iranians are violating this deal.
Yep.
The Americans are ticked off about this.
Very
and I think Republicans should hang this vote around those 34 Democratic senators that just flipped like a millstone.
And they will. And Ted Cruz is the one that organized this rally, and he invited Donald Trump to come. Ted Cruz has had, I think, the smartest approach toward Donald Trump, sort of not criticizing him, embracing him, realizing that Donald may succeed and that may happen. But if he doesn't, then a lot of the people that support Donald because of their frustration against Washington could also go to Cruz. But this is a no-brainer thing to fight. Ultimately, it looks like they'll be able to override a veto. But by holding this rally and having a vote, it delegitimizes even more this terrible, terrible deal that's going to have haunting consequences. And I think Republicans and presidential candidates need to keep fighting all the way through.
They need to make them own it like they did with Obamacare. But I want to ask you, Sandra, about the economic impacts, because this is letting the Iranians basically flood the markets with their oil. And back here at home, we've seen people struggling for jobs, and we've also seen this administration hostile to developing other alternative energy sources, the Keystone Pipeline, which could create jobs.
Well, and the bottom line is if they flood the market with oil, then they're raising a lot of money. That money comes back to them, and then they do what with it, right? That's a big outstanding question. But I wonder how much of this is Trump trying to show that he can rally support from fellow Republicans, right? Hasn't all the disgust with Washington been that parties can't get together with each other and work together? And here, is he trying to show that, hey, look at me, I can work together with my colleagues? Is there any of that going on here, Andrea?
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think that Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are really in the business of making friends too well. I mean, Ted Cruz, as Pete mentioned earlier, is sort of the establishment candidate.
Yeah. I mean, Rand Paul was trying to do that.
Yeah, he's like stuck his finger. It's interesting, Sandra. He's stuck his finger in the faces of a lot of his colleagues in the Senate, which has baffled me, Kennedy, because I look at him and I think, but you're part of the establishment.
Yeah, I mean, he and Rand Paul both have been trying very desperately to distance themselves from the Washington machine that they're a part of.
Right.
I mean, by definition, they are Washington insiders. They're United States senators. They ran for office. They were elected. They have incredibly low approval ratings. But what I'm more intrigued by this, I'd rather see two people from the same party who are in opposition in a presidential contest get together for common cause than see someone like John McCain suspend his campaign because he wants to go tackle the economy.
What I think is interesting is that Donald Trump is it's like a grassroots effort. He's participating in a rally. We see him go to the Iowa State Fair in his helicopter. I mean, you know, I haven't seen this side to him. So this is going to be interesting. I was pretty shocked to see that he agreed to do that. It just reminds me of like lemonade stands and a rally out on the White House lawn. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and I'm glad to see him do this. I think it shows a different side to him.
And, you know, obviously there's a lot of folks that would not want to see Donald Trump run as an independent. You know, how those things could all play out. I think you look at the number of people that he would find acceptable if Donald Trump was viewing the field, and he might look at a Ted Cruz and say, hey, that guy, you know, courageous conservative, whatever you want to call him, he's a really impressive politician. Whether he's an insider or an outsider, I'm not sure. My group just hosted a town hall with him in New Hampshire last week. I mean, the guy's as talented as they come, knows how to articulate being an insider, outsider. He would reject that he's in any way an establishment guy. I mean, he's the guy that he stood on the Senate floor and said, you know, basically called Mitch McConnell a liar. I mean, that was something you just don't do in the Senate.
That's either really bold or really stupid. I mean, history will be the judge.
We're in an anti-establishment moment, and I think he seized it early and understood that, hey, it's more likely.
You also have to be authentic. I mean, authenticity is the other thing voters are going for, and we'll see if they accept or reject that message that, you know, people who live, work, and operate in Washington.
Well, we've talked about this. I don't find Ted Cruz to be that authentic, and I like his record. I like his stances on things. I like a lot of his policies, but when he talks, there's something about him. It's his style that I don't love, and I do think, Pete, that there may be a little bit of these men having a bromance because one has what the other doesn't. I mean, Ted Cruz is respected in a very red meat, conservative Tea Party sort of way. Donald Trump has sort of just come into this foray, but Donald Trump has the personality that Ted Cruz sits at home and prays to God every night for.
Well, he's got more of a personality, I think, that people think. See, a lot of people have seen Ted Cruz through the lens of the national media, which treats him as this sort of far-right extremist. When you actually sit down and listen to Ted Cruz, he is as poignant and poised and
Megyn Kelly tried to sit down and listen to Ted Cruz. He wouldn't answer any of her questions.
I'm not saying it, but I mean, having seen him firsthand, he's pretty good. I mean, just like Rubio and a lot of these guys, the Republicans are blessed with a very talented field.
Maybe he should chug a Red Bull and see what happens.
Okay.
All right. Well, Hillary Clinton's email scandal not doing her any favors in the polls, but a Washington Post piece argues that, scandal aside, Hillary is just not very good at being a candidate. Now, Chris Chilza, am I saying that right?
Cillizza.
All right, let's go with Cillizza. He says increasingly Democrats privately, of course, have begun to wonder whether the problem is not the campaign, but the candidate. She has always been awkward and uninspiring on the stump, said one senior Democratic consultant. Hillary has Bill's baggage without Bill's personality, eloquence, or warmth. A Democratic aide quoted as saying, the combination of messy facts, messy campaign operation, and an awkward candidate reading terrible lines or worse, jokes from a teleprompter is very scary. But then there's Dan Pfeiffer, a longtime aide to President Obama, and he says, even if she's not great, she's still good enough to, quote, she isn't as natural a politician as Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, but that's like saying Scottie Pippen isn't as talented as Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson. She is as good or better than just about everyone in the current GOP.
Hold on, Michael Jordan's a way better basketball player than Michael.
And Scottie Pippen sucked when he went to the Portland Trail Blazers. They were like, well, if he didn't have Jordan in the way, he'd be a star. Not true.
Of course, Scottie always in Jordan's shadow.
Hillary Clinton is no Scottie Pippen either.
No.
She's like me on the basketball court, which is abominable.
So is she the problem? Does she have anyone else to blame but herself?
Oh, I think she's the problem. I think she's a terrible, terrible candidate who's been teed up to run. Look at her campaign slogan. It's ready for Hillary or Hillary for America. It's all about Hillary, except Hillary's not that good. Other people, Donald Trump's running on Make America Great Again, or Ted Cruz is talking about the Washington cartel. They've all got sort of themes that they're pointing at. Same with Scott Walker and others. Her theme is right here.
It's my turn.
It's my turn. I'm next. And you don't even like me that much because I'm awkward and I'm entitled and all of that. I mean, Andrea, you've run campaigns. Have you managed a bad candidate or been involved with a bad? I mean, how do you do as a campaign consultant though? Like, how do you channel that?
Lots of Tito's vodka with a straw under my desk late at night. No, it's very difficult. It is very, very difficult. And her campaign has problems. And this was all foreshadowed during her book tour.
Do you remember that when it was a man who asked her for a selfie? Wait in line.
Yeah.
She's a mean lady.
She goes to Chipotle with sunglasses on.
She's a lady that, God forbid, your kickball goes into her yard.
Yeah.
She keeps it and sets it on fire.
And then she
hold on. But would she really have made it this far and garnered this much support if she was that terrible as a candidate?
Here's the thing. She was running unopposed, essentially. Months ago, she was running unopposed. And then this email scandal bites her in the rear end.
Well, it
and
keeps
now
biting. That's the thing. Like, it's the terrier they can't put back in the doghouse.
Some people are saying
every time there's a new batch of emails, it's worse news for her, and then the hits are going to keep on coming.
She's Scottie Pippen. Some are saying she's not doing well because she's a woman, and we're targeting a woman.
Hold on, she's still raising a lot of money.
No one else to blame, in my opinion, but herself.
But she loves that role. She loves the victim. She has only gotten where she is because of her husband playing a professional.
She has all those houses
victim
she has to pay for.
Yes, she's just been Bill's wife. I mean, it's really that's only the only reason why she is where she is. Her record as senator in New York was horrible. I mean, you look at the 500,000 jobs she promised to bring back to upstate New York, which she never did. And this email scandal, I mean, this steady release of emails is such a joke. It really is. She operates with a deep, dark soul and no conscience. To have a server that is private, that violates espionage laws, that Obama and his national security team clearly knew about. And this is where Republicans, Pete, I think need to start hammering not just Hillary, but this White House. And ask the question, is this DOJ slow walking this investigation like they do every other scandal and investigation because Obama and his team knew about it? So why haven't they hauled her in yet?
Well, do he and his team, you tell me they don't email with the Secretary Secretary of State.
That's
they don't
right.
have. I mean, of course they knew. Of course somebody
and they
knew
wouldn't,
at some level.
and Valerie Jarrett's not going to go, Clinton33 at clintonmail.com. Well, that's not a government email address.
Yeah, no, it's very true. You talked about a record as senator, and then you got to point to a record as Secretary of State, and the Russian reset button, and the disaster that is Libya, and the disaster that is Syria. She jet set it all around the planet, doing as much work for the Clinton Foundation, it appears, as she did as Secretary of State, with almost no good results to come from it. She can't talk about that either.
Her words will hang her.
Yes.
Where she says, when she said in March that she sent or received no classified information, all of those things are going to come back to haunt her, and they are doing it in piecemeal. They are doing it bit by bit, email by email, and none of this is surprising, but it is certainly damning.
It's not only classified, it's top secret in a lot of cases.
And there's a difference. You have top secret clearance. You know what that means.
Yeah, and I got a lot of emails from military folks who've been telling me, when you're trained, military State Department, the guidelines are so crystal clear of what is.
All right, let me hold on. I know we don't have much time left, but because you are the expert in campaigns, Andrea, I'm going to pose this question to you. Mm-hmm. If you were running her campaign right now, and you knew what you know now, and we have what we have now, how would you advise her?
Carl's Jr. in a bikini.
I employ you.
Carl's Jr. in a bikini. I heard that.
I know how Kennedy would.
I don't agree with you there, Kennedy. I think that would make things
Can't she do anything at this point to show that she's got a warm heart and a likability factor, a trustworthiness factor that has gone down so significantly?
I think people's minds are made up about her. I think people have very strong opinions. I don't think she's going to change that, and I don't think that this helps her rebuild the Obama coalition. But that really is her only hope at this point. She has done nothing to help herself with this email scandal. If anything, it shows at best that she was sitting unseriously emailing with her friend Sid about tea and TV shows and quid pro quo for the Clinton Foundation. At worst, it displays a woman, Sandra, that is so malicious and power hungry, she is willing to have a private server that puts her political aspirations over the national security of this country. And I think people have figured that out. And I'm sorry, if I were advising her, you know what I would do? I'd quit. Wow. I would quit.
The answer to that is no.
Okay, nothing. Okay, that's the answer then.
All right. Well, women finding themselves constantly sick might want to check the social makeup of their office. What a new study shows about women working in a male-dominated office.